Malcolm, we'll leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for your call. Good to chat. Let's now speak to Dr. Roger Gewolb. He's CEO of Fair Money, and he joins me now. Dr. Roger, very good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Before we get to your stories, which will probably mean that I'll have to rush through them and then you'll be cross, but I don't care because I want to talk to you about buffets because I love a buffet. However, there are a whole load of things that seem to now be appropriate at buffets. What do you think is at the top of the list of things that people don't seem to think is unacceptable anymore?
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing about a buffet is that there's a good enough selection, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. But unsavoury behaviour, such as double dipping, traditionally left a bitter taste at the buffet, but it's now among the unpalatable acts, now acceptable to many people. So you can...
Yeah.
Yeah, you can double dip, you can save space in the line for a friend or relative, you can use your hands to pick up food items, you can eat while standing at the buffet table, you can queue jump, you can take another plate without finishing the last, and you can put food back that you've already picked up. What's wrong with these people?
Well, all of that is annoying, but the worst, I have to say, is the double and triple and multiple dipping where you have a queue of people and one after another, stick their fingers in the food and then in their mouth and then back in the food.
No wonder we got COVID. Anyway, all right. Well,
at a time of COVID especially, yes.
Yes. All right. Okay, let's delay no longer. You love Andrew Bailey, the Governor of the Bank of England. You think he's brilliant.
The Baileyoceris, yes, and all of his thick-skinned friends who just won't listen. And for over a year, since the very first interest rate, I've been saying, you cannot make money more expensive for people who are spending it on life's necessities. We don't have the kind of consumer spending they have in the States, where when they raised interest rates, inflation went down. Here, it's done nothing, these 14 things, except crush the country.
But you see, that's the point, which is, for some reason, they didn't understand, and I would have thought when you have a bunch of economists, they would understand the difference between demand-led inflation, and if you have demand-led inflation, then that means you can dampen it with interest rates, or cost push. If you have cost push inflation, then raising interest rates is not the right economic response.
Of course they understand.
But then why have they done it?
Because they don't know what else to do.
Well, they're idiots. Okay.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying.
You say thick skin, just forget the skin and just leave it at that. All right.
So are Hunt and Sunak for supporting them in this.
Oh, well, you got all that. And then you've got Hunt and Sunak, who, for whatever reason, seem to be unable to cut the right tax in order to put the right money in the right people's pockets. Unbelievable.
They don't know what cutting tax is. All they're doing is raising tax. We have the highest tax now. I mean, when I see Jeremy Hunt, he must be a great poker player, James. I don't know how he keeps a straight face and says to us, these are the biggest tax cuts.
Neither do I. Now, let's move on before you boil over. Interest rates, 5.25%. Look, people say, oh, it's not that high. People talk about the 80s. They talk about interest rates of 14%. You can't really compare the two, can you? Because once you've brought down interest rates, then you can't necessarily compare them to where they used to be.
Well, no, it's because the fundamentals are different. Read reports by the Leeds Building Society and others that explain when you match the fundamentals of the two different periods, house prices, wages, it's inflation, blah, 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 a 6% James Max super special mortgage rates today is equivalent to paying a 25% mortgage rate in the 1980s.
And then it's also like that because of the changes in our tax system, which means that you don't get any MARAS or the mortgage interest relief that they basically can. All of that. Anyway, listen, we've got a sentence or two that you can describe some good news. Fewer households able to keep up with mortgage payments. Oh, you're not happy.
Well, the Bank of England, they're so pleased that they can announce that instead of 650,000, only 500,000, only 500,000 households are going to spend more than 70% of their post-tax income on their mortgages next year. And they're very pleased with that. But the payment shock is that 200,000 of those people are going to see an increase of more than $1,000, £1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And most of the people are going to see more than £500 a month increase from these interest rates, which were wholly unnecessary because they have done, as you like to say, something that rhymes with a lalix and starts with a B, all.
There we go. Dr. Roger Gewolb, before you completely boil over, thank you very much indeed. Roger is CEO of Fair Money. There you had some exasperation, some stupidity and some shock at his response to those finance stories. There we go. That is it from me.